Hey there, cats and giddies. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming at you live. Talk about episode 6 of season 2 of ClassicaLoid. And this was actually a really interesting episode. We see the reintroduction, or I guess you could say introduction all told, of Kanai's mother, Chimera Otowa. And I thought that was a really interesting name, too. But she comes back, and like hilarity is ensuing, the episode long and everything like that. She's kind of airheaded, and she's got a whole suitcase of money and all of this stuff. She apparently went out to get Kanai treats. How many years has she been gone? And she's been like traversing the globe looking for honey and things, and brings back a whole bunch of souvenirs. This was just sheer insanity. And of course, Kanai leaves for a little while at the start of the episode, and I almost suspected, oh, isn't that convenient? We saw in the PV that Kanai's mother was coming home, and wouldn't it be convenient if she wasn't there to see her? And but luckily they are reunited, and Kanai is incredulous, understandably so. She hasn't heard hide nor hair of her mother, doesn't know if she's even still alive, and here she just pops back in one day, seeing the way Wa-kun was happy about that, and calling back on his past. Oh, what a troublesome life he had. I mean, okay, so he was kind of abandoned, and he was on his own with Dovo-chan and everything like that, and he got a job in a hotel as a busboy and everything like that. At least he was making ends meet to a degree, even though he was looking longingly at the food. Presumably he was able to intake meals and things like that as a part of his employment, even if they weren't paying him outright. Like, I don't know how all of that worked exactly. But I mean, he's in a posh hotel. He's bringing people's, suitcases in and out and everything like that. And I'm just thinking, wow, how horrible a life you must have led. It's not, I mean, that would be, the answer to somebody's prayers in more often than you would think. That kind of job, that kind of stable employment, roof over the head and everything like that. But he was miserable. And I guess you could maybe argue that's his artistic flair, the artistic side of, the Wagner nature of Wa-kun and all that kind of stuff. And just the intrigue in how he, this led to his coming upon Chimera and her, I guess, pseudo-adopting him. I'm assuming she knows a lot more about what's going on surrounding him, that he was a ClassicaLoid, botched or otherwise. And we do see evidence of the fact that, okay, there is a legitimacy to the fact that he's botched. He's incomplete. He does summon forth the music in this episode, and it just doesn't work. Of course, Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, and it just sort of peters out on him. He loses control of it. He gets so highly emotional, and it does burgeon forth in front of Bach. I mean, the whole episode is him and Dovo-chan, trying to disguise themselves, I guess, for fear of being recognized. And how this went over Bach-sama's head, I don't know. He must know. He must recognize them. But Dovo-chan is made up to look like a rhino. I was dying when you see all the different things. Oh, is it going to be a giraffe? Is it going to be a, like a pelican, or, all these different animals and everything, and a swan? And no, they put the horns on and he's going to be a rhino, and people buy it. People believe it, So they terrorize through Bach-sama's building, and they get a direct line to him. And when he's going to dismiss them, I mean, he doesn't even listen to the music that they brought, for all intents and purposes, on the little memory stick, and he's just going to dismiss them all told, and that's when that music burgeons forth. And so obviously there is something, I think it's more closely aligning to my speculation that whatever this revolution Wa-kun is after is something offshoot, like an offshoot idea, an offshoot concept of maybe the same kind of thing Bach-sama was trying to bring about in the first season, which I've spoken about before. And so that was intriguing. And for all his failure, he actually is accepted by Bach and made the producer of Classica, which I thought was like mind-blowing. And that answers to that scene in the OP where he's seen on stage with the two girls, Chaikov and Parazuzka. And so I'm just intrigued to see where this is going to go. Is he going to try to manipulate their sound to this revolutionary effect, this artistic revolution that he wants to bring about, if it is in fact an offshoot of, Bach-sama's original plan? and it'll be interesting to see. But of course, as the hilarity going on back at the manor house is unfolding, Kanai's mother takes them all out for a big illustrious crab dinner, and I loved Chopin's little pun there. It's incredibly good. Stuff like that. He doesn't want to go out, and you got Liz just dragging him by the back of his collar, and oh no, you're going with us. We're going out to eat, and of course Beethoven wants the gyoza. It's all gyoza all the time, as far as he's concerned. He's force feeding it to Wa-kun. And all of the elaborate plan before that of playing a prank, or several pranks as it would turn out to be, on Wa-kun, I didn't expect it to work at all whatsoever. And I had just the barest hint of a speculation, like watched it all backfires, and because of course this is coinciding with Kanai's mother coming back to the manor house, I didn't expect she would fall victim to it, and she doesn't. But I had the barest hint of perception to ask, what if, are they all going to fall for their own pranks? And that's exactly what happened. Beethoven gets the water cannon in the face, and Mozart slips and slides all over the floor, and everything like that. Schubert has the anklet that's attached to the kite and everything, and I was afraid that's the last we're going to see of Schubert for a while. He's probably going to be taken to who knows where. Australia or something, South America, somewhere again, and then we're going to not see him for a couple episodes. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And such like that. I mean, it was pretty hilarious. The feathers drop on Liz's and Chopin's heads, and but so she gets a call. Kanai's mother gets a call during this crab dinner, and I'm unless I'm much mistaken, it sounded to me like it was probably Kanai's father. Whomever it was needs money. And so she takes this whole suitcase full of the money she's accrued after going gambling and all this other stuff, as she describes it. They're rich. They are rich. They are well-to-do. No more fears or worries for the immediate and a long-standing future. And whoever this is asks for money, so she takes every dime of it and transfers it to them. Okay. And so they're basically destitute, and they can't pay for the meal, and they all gotta do the dishes and everything like that. And of course Mozart breaks a whole stack of them. Meanwhile, Liz and Camira are out talking about the love life of Kanai. She's very consumed with Kanai's hooking up with someone. Which of the ClassicaLoids does she like? Beats, wink wink, nudge nudge. She was looking pointedly at him. You're not gonna argue me down from that. She looked right across the table at him. And all in all, it was just a really fun, fantastic, intriguing episode. And I even loved, the ending during the credits. They played once again Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, but it was like a rock style, and I don't think it's the same version we heard in season 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think this might have been a new interpretation, including the Toccata and Fugue. But I loved the sort of neon, artistic, graffiti-esque, names of all the ClassicaLoids and everything as it was playing. And so it's just going to be interesting to see in now this producer role what Wa-kun is going to do with Klasky Kasky, how he's going to manipulate them and or their sound, and whether or not that is going to be an offshoot, playing off of what Bach-sama was trying to accomplish in the first season, because it seems like Wa-kun's all familiar with all of that stuff. The other ClassicaLoids, how he was utilizing them, and I think that's why he made a direct line for Bach. He wants to pick up where Bach-sama left off. So that's at least my speculation. There could be a whole lot more to it. Maybe I'm way off the mark. But yeah, I loved this episode. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 6 of season 2 of ClassicaLoid. If you've seen it as well, any further insights you have to share with me on it and everything like that. Love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below as long as we have a great conversation. And yeah, until next time, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.